Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to answer the question, can you fit CRF70 plastics on a CRF100? And I'm going to go into the details of what all fits just without any modification, what you have to customize, and exactly how to customize it. So I'm going to start here by just unboxing all of the pieces. This is from a cheap $40 CRF70 kit that I bought off eBay, and I'll have a link in the description for that if you want to get it. I can't 100% recommend this kit, specifically because they packaged it so poorly. As you'll see here, they just basically put saran wrap on each of the pieces and then threw them in a box. And so because of that, almost every piece has some abrasion scratches on it. That's totally avoidable if they would have just packaged it a little better. But anyway, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I've got a CRF100 in the shop that came to me with no plastics on it. And I actually got it running really well in a video. You can check that out. I'll have a link in the description, or you can click in the top right here. And so after I got it running well, I wanted to make it look good, and I was surprised to find that the only plastics available for the CRF100 specifically are by this brand Mayer, or Meyer. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's spelled M-A-I-E-R, and I'll have a link in the description for those plastics as well if you want to go that route. They are like $450 for the whole kit, and this bike's just not worth that much. So I figured it was worth the risk to find out how well these CRF70 plastics would fit. And for the record, I don't know if these will apply to XR100s, especially prior to 2001. I know the gas tanks are different, so the air scoops will definitely not fit or fit differently. If anybody has done any of this work to an XR100 or other small bikes like this, let me know in the comments what you did, and I'm really curious to see what people have made fit on their different bikes. But yeah, so if you've got a CRF80 or CRF100 anywhere from 2004 to 2009, maybe 2013, again, there's a little bit of a gray area there, then this video will be really helpful in getting you to fit some cheap CRF70 plastics onto your 80 or 100. And hang around till the end, you might be surprised how well these things fit. Okay, so now I got everything unboxed, and here you can see all 7 pieces that it came with. I think I'm just gonna get started with the tank scoops because I heard that those are a direct fit, so let's go find out. So here you can see how messed up this right side tank scoop is. I tried cleaning that off, but it is like a permanent scratch on this thing. So these tank scoops mount to the bike via 3 different points. So you've got a splash guard clip on the front, and then on the back there's this little shroud grommet that should go in there, and then just a regular shouldered bolt for the top part. And they mount on the tank here. On the back, the grommet slides over that. Now I don't have the grommet right now, but I'll probably order some and get them on later. But just for test fitting, this will be good enough. And then just a random shoulder bolt I had. And there we go, sure enough, they fit perfect. Here the left side, same deal, you got those 3 points, and it should just mount right up. And I'll do the front faceplate because that's also really easy. All it does is slide down on those 2 prongs, and then one little 8mm bolt goes right in the middle. Or 8mm head, it's a 5mm bolt actually. Okay, got that snug down, worked great. Now let's do the front fender, which again, I heard total easy fit. Sure enough, it just mounts via 3 little holes, and you're supposed to have these little sleeves in. I only had 1 right now, so again, gonna order more, but this will be good for locating. One difference between the front fender on the 70s and the 100s and the 80s is that the 70s fenders are a little bit smaller, which I kind of like because it kind of gives the effect of like a supermoto fender, but it's not quite that small. It's a nice in-between, so I actually really like the fit of this fender. And sure enough, bolted right up. Now we're getting to the tougher parts that are gonna take some modification, and I'm gonna need the seat for this part, and the seat I've got has just been, for some reason, shredded to pieces. So I got this Attack brand gripper seat cover. I'll have a link to that in the description too. I'm pretty happy with it. It fit up nice and easy. It's really stretchy and very simple. And it feels like a good material that's going to hold up pretty well. Mounting these to a seat is really easy. You just pop off all these little staples and then stretch the new seat over it and staple it back in place, and you're done. So I won't go into details showing how exactly I did every step of that. I'll just do it real quick here. You ready? And done. It's just that easy. Okay, so I'm gonna work on the tailpiece first. And here I've got the stock XR100 tailpiece is the red one there. And I pulled the grommets off and put them on the new black piece. And then the stock one, it has 2 holes there, and I drilled those into the new piece, and I had to kind of grind out some area so that it would sit flush against the seat. And so here I'm gonna show you, this is how the original one fits, and it just bolts right there onto the seat, and that's what holds it in place. And then on this one, you can make it do the same thing. You just gotta drill those holes, grind out a little area, and then it actually fits quite the same. So let me just bolt that down. There we go. And I also made my own little seat stop there because it was missing the original one. So the seats on these are really just held down by 2 points. There's this little tongue that slides under the frame. Then there's a little catch that slides under this bolt and keeps it tight to the gas tank. And then the back little rubber stop just rests on the frame here. And there's a splash guard built into the bottom of the seat that butts up against a seal so that you don't get any mud and debris coming off your tire and getting right into your intake. So with the seat mounted up and the tailpiece good, it's time to get these side covers on. And with this left side cover, the lower mount didn't quite line up, so I made this little tab. It's really simple, just a little piece of stainless that I cut and drilled one hole for the actual frame mount, and then drilled and tapped another hole that's better aligned for where the plastic piece wants to sit. And also I had to shave the lip off of the top of that plastic piece for the most part, just because of how it interacts with the seat differently on this bike. And so with that shaved and the little relocation bracket in place, I pushed that back mount into the grommet and line up the plastic parts, and then just put this little mount bolt in its place. And that actually mounted it really solid, and everything lines up real nice. I like it. Okay, now for the right side, similar situation. I had to cut the lip down, and on this one, I'll actually show you just the way I did it. I just used an angle grinder. There's lots of ways you could do it. You could use a Dremel, would be a lot less violent. And then afterward, I take a razor blade and I just shave off the melted buildup that way. Okay, so I didn't want this plastic piece to rest against the exhaust and melt, so there was 2 things I had to do. One, I had to shave off this little bracket that was, I think, for the original plastic piece. So I just cut that off real quick, just like that. And then with that off, when I test fit it, this little offset on the back of the plastic piece wasn't quite long enough, so it was resting against the exhaust. So all I did was I found this little random spacer that I had, and you could use anything to create a spacer there. Here's a little trick. I like to shoot some WD-40 on these rubber grommets. It really helps the parts seat. Okay, so now I'll mount that, and I got the little spacer back in there. So when I tighten that bolt down, you can see this here, how it's just off of the exhaust. That'll give enough clearance so that it won't melt. And everything else really fits nicely. I'm really impressed with the way it all lines up. And I mean, the tailpiece is a little bit smaller, so you do see the frame rails a little bit, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. Okay, that was the last piece, so let's see this thing all put together.